Thank you everyone for joining our Wednesday webinar series. Today we have David Brett presenting from Waresight on how to accelerate digital maturity across your operator network. So we'll go through the presentation, and as always, I will share the recording and the recap following this, as well as David's contact information if you have any questions. I think there'll be some stops for you guys to ask questions throughout the way, but I'm going to kick it over to David and we'll get started. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Brooke, and thank you, Bob. Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is David Brett, and I'm co-founder and COO of Waresight. As you can tell from my accent, I am from Ireland, but I'm delighted to be here to talk to you all this morning. I'm very much looking forward to talking to you about how to accelerate digital maturity across your operator network. And I've been working in digital and technology for the tourism sector since 2003. Over the last 5 years, I've spent a significant amount of my time focusing on how to improve digital maturity within destinations. And today I'm going to share 5 practical lessons that we have learned from working with hundreds of tourism operators and how destinations can use these learnings to accelerate their operators' digital maturity. So at Waresight, we partner with travel and tourism organizations to measure, benchmark, and impact the digital maturity of their operators. Destinations are only as strong as their weakest link digitally. And if a visitor can't book online or finds poor digital information, it can potentially damage the perception of the wider destination. Our work shows a direct link between higher digital maturity and improved operator performance. So I'm really excited to be here to have this opportunity to talk to you. And over the next 20 to 25 minutes, I'll be discussing what digital maturity means for a DMO and why it matters more than ever. I'll be providing a step-by-step process to audit and benchmark your operator's digital performance. I'll also talk about common gaps that hold back visitor conversion and how to fix them, and how to support your operators to improve their digital presence without overwhelming them. And finally, I'll include examples of how other destinations have successfully approached this challenge and seen significant results. We will have time, as Brooke said, for questions at the end, but I will check in a few times as well during the session if anybody would like to clarify any point or ask a question along the way. That's no problem at all. Okay, let's get started. Let's talk about the leaky bucket. Okay, so DMOs excel at growing awareness, creating interest in the destination, sparking inspiration, telling great stories, growing website sessions, making an impact in terms of video views, creating social buzz around the destination and its product. When you see a destination marketing video, it immediately fires your imagination, picturing what it would be like to experience the destination in person. And you have me hooked at that point with the video. But yet a silent leak often appears at the very next click. Travelers who leave the DMO site to explore tours, attractions, or hotels frequently encounter slow pages, no live availability, or checkout flows that still ask them to email for pricing. And this leads to frustration. In a world where the majority of travelers say the ability to book entirely online is vitally important, that friction can be enough to send someone back to Google and sometimes to a competing destination that makes this easier for them. Is this a challenge that resonates with you? Is it something you've seen before, you've come across or experienced in your destination? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Let's develop on that. So if we view destination visitor growth as a funnel, the first step of the funnel is to drive awareness and inspire potential visitors, as we referenced. This is, the DMO campaigns that can be done to inspire and create that social buzz and ultimately create demand for the destination. And we can measure that in terms of reach, engagement metrics, website visits, social engagement, video views. There's a majority, a lot of different ways we can measure that. However, the next step in the process is often under-optimized. This is the conversion step, where operators look to convert that demand into business on their books and visitors to the destination. And this can be where intent leaks and you lose the visitor. And it results in a conversion gap that wastes marketing spend and dilutes economic impact. We can measure this by looking at metrics like operator conversion rate, website and OTA bookings, and improvements in digital maturity. When operator conversion is optimized fully, we will drive more footfall to the destination. And we can then measure the impact of these visitors by using our geofencing or location intelligence platforms. But if conversion is a challenge, it can't be fixed with more media spend. We fix it with digital maturity. The DMO builds demand, digital maturity drives conversion, geofencing validates visits. But what is digital maturity? Are any of you measuring digital maturity today as part of your reporting packs? Maybe not, but hopefully by the end of this presentation, you'll get an understanding of its importance. We define digital maturity as the level at which a business effectively uses digital tools, data, and technology to optimize visitor experience and conversion. It is not as simple as a website upgrade or setting up on TikTok or Meta. It goes much deeper than that. It's embedding digital thinking into our strategy and involves the measurement of both people, skills, and technology, peer benchmarked across the travel and tourism industry. Sorry, just a quick drink of water there. And the reason that this is so important is that tourist browsing and booking behavior has changed significantly over the last few years. We're no longer flicking through brochures or going to the concierge looking for ideas for great experiences. Everything has been done online, on our tablet or mobile. Often when we're in the car traveling, like for example, traveling from New York to Niagara. I visited the East Coast of Australia this summer with my wife, and we planned the majority of our experiences while traveling in our camper van. We were making decisions like, what are we doing today? What campsite will we book for tomorrow? What experience will we book while we're on the move in the destination? There was a couple of times where we changed the next town we visited because the campsites were not showing live availability. So unless the experience has that digital presence and can be easily found, looks good, and can be easily booked, then it won't convert the visitor. They'll move on to the next experience or possibly the next destination. It's no longer good enough to ask travelers to email or phone for availability or walk up. If we don't make it easy for them to book online, we risk losing business. This is a key challenge for operators, and it's one that can be solved. Does anybody have any questions so far? No? Okay, we'll stay going. When digital maturity is optimized effectively, it can make a significant impact commercially. We worked with Ireland's National Tourism Development Authority, Ultra Ireland. After internal benchmarking across 800 visitor attractions, activities, and experiences, found that more than 80% of them lacked an optimized distributable booking engine. We worked with Fáilte Ireland to develop a multi-year holistic program to improve the digital maturity of the sector, and the results were significant. They saw a 300% uplift in bookability for the operators, a 50% improvement in overall digital maturity, and this led to a 30% average revenue increase for the operators. This was a significant turnaround for the destination, and it also led to other improvements in areas like operational effectiveness and digital capability. Okay, so I hope I've made the case that it's a problem worth solving. We talk to operators quite regularly, and over the last few years, we've identified a number of common challenges that operators have. And we've done this through a combination of one-to-one conversations, case studies, but also using AI to develop insights through large survey data sets. Here's what we found are the top 6 challenges. The top 6 challenges that operators have, and an overview of some of the solutions we can use to address these challenges. The most common thing we hear is we didn't know where to start. We don't know where to start when it comes to digital. And what they need is a plan that they can follow. Another common issue is limited time and knowledge. And they often require tactical access to expertise to help them overcome very specific knowledge gaps. They often lack an optimized booking engine capable of distributing to OTAs, particularly in the attraction and experience sector. But there are numerous low-cost off-the-shelf solutions that make a huge difference to day-to-day operations. We regularly see operators who save 4 to 6 hours per week thanks to booking system integrations and no longer having to manually update Excel spreadsheets. Sometimes the challenge is more straightforward, like not integrating their call to action on their website. This can be easily addressed once the problem has been identified. Operators often struggle with effective measurement of their digital campaigns. And in many cases, we find that they don't have e-commerce tracking set up correctly on Google Analytics. And when we work with operators, we make sure that they can do 3 things. That they can track e-commerce revenue, they can understand their booking call to action clicks, and that they have a good breakdown of their channel performance, that they're accurate channel performance. Finally, a number of operators we've worked with have a limited digital presence. And with the right guidance, they can more confidently start to enable the right channels and the right OTAs for the business. And again, it's not about turning on 5 or 6 different channels all at one go. It's understanding the business goals that sit behind the operators, that drive the operator's business, and how we align the right decisions and the right channels to those goals. Okay, I know I've covered quite a bit so far. Again, just checking in if anybody has any questions on anything we've covered so far. No? We'll keep going, and again, we have that opportunity at the end to ask any questions. So when you're considering influencing digital maturity with your operators, our experience shows that it's best to use these 5 key pillars. The first pillar is leadership and governance, and this includes strategy, leadership, setting business goals and KPIs, and a mindset of continuous improvement, which is essential to thrive in a digital world. Essentially, we're aligning digital and business strategy. And I wonder how many operators within your destinations discuss digital performance on a weekly or a monthly basis. Customer experience is the second pillar. And this looks at how operators display their product and how they promote this to the right customer at the right time with the right message, while also ensuring that the booking process is easy to use. How many taps does it take to get from landing page to completed booking? Technology is about putting the right technology in place for the business across website, booking engine, AI tools, which I know is something that a lot of operators are trying to get a handle on and understand what they should be using in the space, analytics, and CRM systems. Does your booking engine allow you to display live availability on your own site and also on third-party sites? And is that centralized? If not, maybe there's a technology solution required. An operational capability allows operators to then optimize their precious time, capitalizing on the technology that's in place to reduce manual tasks, to automate booking management and sales reporting, while taking greater control of their website so they can make their own edits very, very quickly, rather than having to go to a provider to make these changes. Can OTA bookings be automatically updated in a centralized system, for example? That saves an awful lot of time. Finally, people, because digital maturity gains are more sustainable when they pair platform upgrades with skills and knowledge development. For example, who's responsible for digital marketing or distribution strategy at operator level, and do they have the skills to make these, to develop that strategy and work with partners? So digital maturity is about all of these 5 pillars, and there's 18 activities that sit underneath that, and they all work together to drive operator performance in a holistic way. Each pillar is scored, and the lowest scoring pillar is where you can prioritize your time to make sure as an operator you're making changes and identifying improvements in areas where you are weaker. So I've given you an overview of digital maturity and why we feel it's really important for DMOs and for operators. I'm going to switch hats now and talk to you about how we tackle digital maturity specifically with WhereSight's Digital Maturity Accelerator, or WhereSight DMA. Because most operators don't know where to start, we found that this 5-step framework can be very effective. This approach focuses on auditing each operator's existing digital maturity, benchmarking them against other operators in the destination to understand where they can improve. We measure against peers, so operators know where they truly stand, not how they feel they're doing. We then diagnose where improvements are required, and these improvements form an action-oriented roadmap, giving operators a clear plan, outlining the tasks that they need to complete to improve their digital maturity. And these tasks are prioritized based on impact and effort required. Then the operators work to complete the tasks and can be supported at key stages of the process by experts who provide the guidance to help operators overcome roadblocks or challenges along their journey. And this is an example of WhereSight DMA dashboard. Once we complete the assessment of an operator's digital maturity, they get access to this dashboard that provides an overall score, but also breaks out their performance by pillar and by key activity. As the saying goes, what gets measured gets managed. Each data point is also benchmarked against the average for businesses in the destination, giving operators that competitive incentive to drive improvement. And it's also really important that as a DMO, you get aggregated data. So we basically aggregate this up to DMO level to help you pinpoint overall trends within the destination to ensure you have clarity on where you can be most impactful with resource, budget, and time. Another key output of WhereSight DMA product is an action-oriented roadmap, which I kind of referenced earlier on, and it's powered by data. We're passionate about driving change for operators. So the last thing that we want is a report that gathers dust and sits on a shelf. The roadmap provides that prioritized action list for your operators and allows operators to mark tasks as complete to help them track momentum and impact and to get that sense of achievement. As they progress through the roadmap, they can be reassessed, and then this can unlock further opportunities for growth. So in summary, I wanted to leave you with 5 takeaways, and then we can progress on to questions. Improving your operator's digital maturity will lead to better conversion from your marketing campaigns. It'll help you reduce that leaky bucket, or mend the leaky bucket, I suppose. Conversion complements media. Operators often struggle with where to start on their digital journey. A data-led roadmap gives them clarity on where they can improve, and roadmap beats guesswork. Benchmarking helps drive digital improvement within your operator base. It drives healthy competition. And aggregated data can pinpoint where you as a DMO can be most impactful with resource, budget, and time. Digital maturity is not just about tech. So pairing tech with improvement with skills and business KPIs will yield the optimal results. Tie work to business goals, not tools. So I'm going to wrap up, but I think at this point, I'm happy to take any questions that you have. So I might hand you back to Brooke to maybe chair any questions.
Yeah, does anybody have any questions for David about digital maturity or about WareSight? Please feel free to unmute and ask your questions, or raise your hand, put them in chat, whatever you would like to do. Go ahead, Rachel.
Yes, hello. I'm Rachel.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi. I was just wondering, how should destinations best communicate the importance of digital maturity to their attractions, destinations, restaurants? Is there anything in your experience that you've found works particularly well, especially when destinations have multiple members and places for people to go to?
It's a really good question. One of the things that we found can work very, very well is to have a couple of early adopters and to use that then as a case study, because I think what often incentivizes businesses to act is when they see the impact for their contemporaries and other businesses within the destination. So I know Carl is on the line here today as well, my colleague Carl, and it's something that we do talk to destinations about if you do want to have some early adopters to try this out, because in a lot of cases it's the impact that they can see for their peers that drives that appetite to do more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just to add to that, David, it's a critical part of the implementation, Rachel, is the benchmarking. So everyone likes to know where they are today. So that's the measure. That's the first thing we do. And then you give them the benchmark of saying, this is where your peers are. And when we say the peers, we mean in your local area, in your county, in your region, in the state. And they go, oh, okay, so I'm ahead on that, but I'm behind on that. And that becomes the catalyst to change. And the motivation that we give is as David says, we've lots of success stories, which are all on YouTube, of businesses talking about going through the program where they're saying, look, I was this way, and then I got a booking tool and I've saved 3 or 4 hours of my time. So doing things that I enjoy doing, my revenue increased. We have stories of revenues increasing, online revenues increased up to 300%. So those success stories are what drive the change in the individual, but we're all motivated by peer competition in everything that we do. So that we see has been a major catalyst.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any other questions for David and Carl? Okay.
I'm just going to jump in, Brooke, and
Damien has one quick.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Damien.
Yeah, I know one of the challenges often is that individuals who are a little bit less comfortable with technology get scared by dashboards and different tech solutions. What are maybe some of the strategies that you've used to kind of get past that with certain individuals, maybe some specific use cases?
Yeah, well, I think it's a really good question. And we certainly don't recommend sharing a dashboard with a business and expecting them to take that information and do something with it, right? So we find that with consultation, so having somebody join them to talk through the dashboard, what this is telling us, how this can help them develop it on, and taking that approach, it's kind of that consultative approach, can work quite well. And I think this is where we can bring in some of the experiences we've had working with, a combination of in some cases quite small operators up to larger operators. So we have come across a wide range of business type, and it's knowing, I suppose, how to progress them in that conversation around, well, look, for other businesses, we found that this works really well. So if you were to even start with this piece, and giving them that comfort and that guidance. And it's also why we referenced in the presentation about the access to experts. I think because it is something. I think time and knowledge are two of the key challenges that we have, or that operators have, I should say. And if you're progressing along a journey and you hit a wall as an operator, that can be the end game, right? So the way we've tried to structure this is, if you're at that point where, okay, I need to do something now, it looks like I need to get a new booking system. I don't know how to get a booking system, that they have access to somebody with that experience who can guide them through that process, give them those first few steps, and take them through those journeys. But we find that can work very effectively.
I'd like to add to that, David, that it's important to understand, Damien, that our engagement, we like to say it's software with a service. So after we give the business their roadmap, we then engage on a 10-month mentorship program with them, where we help them implement the stages. So it's exactly like going to the gym and meeting your spotter there every time you're in, or, you know, having your meal plans prepared for you, so that you've got somebody who's helping you do those transformations that you know you have to do but don't have skills to do. And also, by building the change into the bite-sized chunks that the business can handle, rather than being overwhelmed by all the change at once. Like, we've 4 levels of digital maturity within the program. So if you're level 1 today, which means you got phone and you got a paper diary, then our goal is to get you to level 2 over the first year. It's not to get you to level 4. So whilst we're trying to raise all boats, we're conscious that they're at different stages.
Yeah, just as a follow-up, something you made me think about is, you know, sometimes DMOs are in a really good position to provide their, you know, the different businesses in their community with intel so that they can be more effective. Do you see any opportunities for using your platform to basically feed DMOs with data that they can then in turn feed to restaurants, hotels, etc., so that they can be more successful?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think the dashboards will include that rolled up information for you, that will, you know, you'll be able to go back, you know, as a DMO, you're able to say, look, common challenges are in these areas here, you know, as even bringing some of those operators together with focus groups. There's lots of different ways you can use that data to drive improvements. So I suppose that one of the things that we would like to see happen is that this is something that's talked about a little bit more, and digital maturity is understood a little bit more as well. And I think that's where Carl's point about the peer benchmarking is really key. So by being able to say, look, we've assessed ourselves as a destination, and we see that we have a work to do here, and here, but we, you know, this is across the destination. Let's work on a plan together to drive improvements in these areas, and then we can look to compete at a higher level against some of the competitive destinations.
Yeah, I know we're wrapping up now, but my email address is on screen. If any of the DMOs want a dive into the product, I'll happily share what the DMO dashboard looks like, Damien, and how you can see how the aggregate data can drive decision making in terms of the strategic go forward, and what do we need to do as groups, regions, or niches. So please reach out. I'm happy to do that for you and share the insights.
Thank you.
No problem.
Great, thank you guys. If there's any more questions, I will defer to David and Carl. I'll share their contact information. We will be doing the recording and recap following this out in the newsletter next week. Please keep an eye out for our other Wednesday webinars coming up. I want to thank David and Carl for jumping on today, especially with the time difference. I appreciate you guys being here with our East Coast time. But this was a great presentation. Thank you everyone for joining us, and don't forget to keep an eye out on the newsletter for any more updates.
Thanks, Brooke.
Thanks, Brooke. Thanks for having us. Bye.
Bye,
Have a
everyone.
great rest of your guys' day.